And we are on air.
Hi guys, my name's Brianna, and today I'm going to be telling you guys 10 interesting things about my boyfriend. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so this video was actually my boyfriend's idea, and I liked it, so I thought I would do it. So here we are. The word interesting was quite interesting to me because I wasn't really sure what would be considered interesting versus unique or things I like about him. So I actually had a little bit of trouble thinking of what would count as an interesting thing for this video. So I left it to pretty vague things that I just kind of like about him and that drew me to him in the first place. So yeah. The first thing on my list is his sense of humor. His sense of humor is very unique. And if you don't get it, you wouldn't really like it. But his sense of humor meshes so well with mine that I love it so much, and it is definitely a really interesting thing about him because of how unique it is. And he can always make me laugh no matter what's going on in our lives. The next thing on my list is his music taste. His music taste is very interesting. His music is good, and I actually like it, but it's not something I would ever listen to, I would listen to it on my own, but it's not the type of music that I would decide or discover or find to listen to, if that makes sense. It's very different than anything I would normally think of or listen to. And it's brought me into a whole new way of listening and enjoying and respecting music, and that is really great. The next thing on my list is his fashion sense. Now, he's not a very fashion-forward person, but he does have a particular way of dressing and particular brands he likes and things like that. And I always found that really interesting because if you just take a picture of him and you look at it, the way he's dressed nicely, but he doesn't really look like he's dressed in anything in particular. But yet he's so particular about his clothing and things like that. So I always found that really interesting, like certain brands that he likes or things like that, or where the clothing is made. That has always been really interesting to me. Like, he'll just be wearing a t-shirt, but he's wearing that t-shirt because it was made in a specific country. Like, that's fashion sense in a whole new way that I never would have thought of as someone's fashion sense, but it is, because he wouldn't wear a shirt that was made someplace else. So I've always found that super fascinating. The next thing is his passion. Now, I don't know for this one if interesting is the right word, but it's one of the things that definitely drew me to him. He's so passionate about so many different things you would never think of, and that's what makes it interesting, is to hear him talk about all these things that he's so passionate about, so you get to learn more about these things that you would never even cross your mind about. And that has always made me really happy. Tying in with his passions, the next thing that I found really interesting about him is his hobbies. He has so many different hobbies that I would never think of. Like watches. He collects watches, he fixes watches, and he knows everything about watches, and that's always been interesting to me. And that's just one of his hobbies. Then there's languages. He knows so many different languages. Even if he doesn't know them fluently, he could say so many different things in so many different languages. And that brings me into the next thing, his way of expressing himself. I've always found that really unique because, well, one of the ways he does that is through all these different languages, He'll say random things sometimes in a different language, and I have to ask him what he's talking about or what he means, because he just says things the way his brain thinks of them, which is often in different languages. And I've always found that super fascinating. But that's not the only way that he expresses himself. He always does little poems and things like that too, which I've always enjoyed a lot. And also just the way he speaks in general is really special to me, and I've always liked the way that he speaks and expresses himself, and I've always found it interesting, and I love to hear him talk. The next thing on my list is his intelligence. My whole life, intelligence has been a really important thing to me. It's one of my biggest values, and John has this natural intelligence. He's super smart. He just absorbs so much information. He can tell you about so many different things, And he gives me so much knowledge every single time I see him. And because I value intelligence so much, it's great to have someone so intelligent, but also someone who can increase my intelligence by teaching me things, and I just love to learn from him all the time. The next thing is his life experiences. John has so many different interesting life experiences, like traveling, like just like the experiences he's had with people, his memories, the way he grew up, so many different life experiences that have shaped him into who he is. And to just talk about his experiences in life and share my experiences with him and compare them, that's always been so interesting and a great thing to talk about. It always leads to incredible conversations, and that has been a really great thing. The next thing is his view on the world, which obviously a lot of the things I've said have formed his view on the world. But his view on the world and his politics, his beliefs, don't always match mine, but they're always based on valid information that can make for real conversations about those types of things rather than just opinion versus opinion. And I've always really valued that and enjoyed being able to have real discussions about things like that with a person. And last but not least is his personality. I know this one's kind of vague, but I wasn't really sure how to specify it more. I just love the way he is as a person, and I don't know how else to express that other than just saying his personality. He's just such a great person, an interesting person, and I just love him so much. But yeah, those are 10 interesting things about John. What's interesting about you guys? Tell me an interesting fact. But alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Happy VEDID, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.